Call the meeting of the Fiscal Court to order. Welcome, everybody. Bob Gifford.
Yes, Judge, I have a draw request on our KIA Fund B. It's 1003. It's for the Brewers Pump Station. There's construction site services pipe for the pumping station, $1,586.90. Paul Cloud Engineering, $680. Strafer Pumps, which was the winning bid on this, $44,950 for a total of $47,216.90.
All right, you've heard the request from KIA Fund B.
Make a motion to approve the request, Judge.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion?
None.
None.
My remaining funds, and this Fund B is $10,833.87. And in my WX 211570046 account, I have $23,604, which all of those dollars have been earmarked for bid projects. And again, I am out of money.
Okay. We have requested, is it through Fund B, Bob?
Yes, through Fund B, a continuation of $140,000 to do the telemetry in the Oak Level tank and the Brewers tank, and then add additional pump to the Brewers pumping station, where I only put one in because I didn't have enough money to finish it.
Okay. I talked with the commissioner last Thursday, and Mr. Covington with the KIA was in Atlanta. He had our request on his desk, and I assume he'll be talking with Covington sometime this week. I have not talked to the commissioner.
Hopefully, because this is not a new project, this is a continuation because of cost overruns, that this will be funded. We can just keep our fingers crossed.
All right. Thank you, Bob. Any more questions of Bob? Anybody? Okay, thanks. All right, let's move into correspondence. Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff. Yeah.
I've got a couple of things.
Oh, okay. Excuse me.
That I didn't know that I was going to have done in time, but basically, one thing is as required by law, it's one of those obscure ones that I'm supposed to go to every precinct and post at least in 5 places the executive order for the election. I did do that. It says I am to have a report and publish it, or have a report and turn it over to you. So I do have that, and also stating on there that it's been taken to the paper of record, the Tribune, to be published today and next week as well. And every place that I put one up, you have the GPS coordinates, so it took a whole weekend to do that. That's the strangest thing I've ever done, I do believe, when it comes to my job.
Well, I got a call because one of the postings was out at the activities building at the the Olive Methodist Church.
Yes.
And I said, well, this is a requirement, and Kevin's having to go to different places and do this to try to cover the whole community, and that has been done. So.
Yes. And the second thing is, and this may fit under the correspondence, but we got notification on June 25th that Marshall County Sheriff's Office was one of 3 in the whole state of Kentucky that was accepted for the cops hiring grant. So I will be able to retain an officer because I had planned on a layoff in September because of the financial situation, but it's for 3 years. It's $171,550 with a $45,000 match, and that's over a 3-year period.
And this is the one that had to be a veteran, was it?
Well, no, if it was a new hire.
A new hire, it had to be a veteran, okay.
But if it was somebody
Retention,
scheduled to go on
it's-
layoff, it's for
okay.
retention, yes.
I remember we talked about it.
So we were awarded that, and
Good.
like I said, we were the only one in western Kentucky. The rest of them was in the eastern part.
All right, very good. All right, from the Kentucky Home Place Dear Judge Miller, please find the Marshall County donated space agreement with Kentucky Home Place for July 1, 2012 through June 30th, 2013 for your signature. Please note that the University of Kentucky requires that your organization is not currently debarred as defined in 40 S.U.S.C. Section 13208-7B F from participating in any federal health care programs, and that it will promptly notify the Kentucky Home Place if the organization has a change in status. We do this agreement every year. As you know, the Kentucky Home Place is upstairs. They help people with their drugs, elderly people with helping to pay for their medical prescription drug cost. The agreement says the donated space agreement made and entered into this July 1st, 2012 by and between Marshall County Fiscal Court, 1101 Main, Benton, Kentucky, herein referred to as donor, and the University of Kentucky, Kentucky Home Place, herein referred to as the Kentucky Home Place or donee, for the purpose of furnishing donated office space for the Kentucky Home Place program in Marshall County. Whereas the donor has agreed to furnish donated space located at 1101 Main, Benton, whereas Kentucky Home Place maintains office operations in Marshall County an average of 5 days a week, with the office hours being 8 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. We agree to furnish office space at 1101 Main for an average of 5 days per week to the donee for the program operation. That it is not currently debarred as defined in 42 U.S.C. Section 1320A-7BF from participating in any federal health care programs, and that it will promptly notify donee if it ever is. The donee agrees as follows: to bear the cost of all communication charges made by staff of Kentucky Home Place, to comply with donor schedule and practices regarding office activities, maintain premise liability insurance coverage for the office space to be used in an amount not less than $250,000 per occurrence, to use this space for social service programs of the Kentucky Home Place and not to conduct patient clinical care activities in the space or bill any third parties for any services provided therein. This agreement is in effect from July 1, 2012 to June 30th, 2013. However, it may be terminated sooner by either party upon 30 days written notice to the other party. If not terminated, it will automatically renew for any successive number of one-year terms, all subject to being terminated upon a 30-day written notice by either party. What's your pleasure, gentlemen? They've asked that we sign this and get this back to them. We've had this program now for a number of years. I don't really know how many, but they've been operating up there for a long time.
I'd make a motion to approve the agreement, Judge.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion on the motion?
None.
We only call it vote. All in favor, aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries. We'll send this back there. From Jeff. Jeff, do you want to explain your letter there if you want to?
Okay, I had a couple issues that arose after the meeting last week. First, in regard to, well, I'll just read it. Good morning. I'm writing to advise of a situation that has risen. No, this one's the first one. I'm writing to advise of a situation that has risen. No, this is the same one. There's supposed to be two of them. But this is, okay. writing to advise of a situation has arisen, placed me in, I have not been in since taking office in May 12, 1997. The issues that have arisen relating to the refuse district create a situation where I have a potential conflict of interest. My father currently sits on the Refuge District Board. It appears the acts of the board over the past few years are in question. Given my relationship, I must decline advising the fiscal court on these issues any further. My suggestion would be to obtain counsel for this limited issue as soon as possible. Anytime there is a potential conflict of interest, it's my duty to advise my clients of that.
Right.
What's the
I haven't-
process for finding counsel on the issue? What's the process?
What's the process? Just to, you all, if you all get together and agree on someone that, at the point where you need,
Okay.
advice.
All right, then what we'll need to do is get together and talk about it, I guess. Okay? For Mr. Ray Grinnell, as many of you know, I started last September trying to get the traffic control signs upgraded on Morris Camp Highway to make it safer. After several newspaper articles, letters to the editor, and an interview with local Channel 6, I can now say it's paid off. Yesterday, while traveling on the highway, I see that the speed limits have been added to all the curve signs, and all the signs I requested have been in place. I would like to thank the members of the Fiscal Court, the Maintenance Department, for their efforts in making Moores Camp Highway much safer for motorists, both local and out of state. I hope you will convey my appreciation to the members at the next regular scheduled meeting of the Marshall County Fiscal Court. That's from Ray Grinnell. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Sheriff, have you noticed a decrease in accidents on Morris Camp since the new signage has been up?
I haven't, of course, we had one Sunday night, of
Right.
course, but that was a different situation, but, I haven't seen,
I didn't
near
know
the
if-
accidents that we've had last year, put it that way, so far, and
Good.
that's everywhere right now,
Okay,
but some are still young.
right, right.
Okay. All right, any other correspondence? Let's move into old business. We received the minutes of the June 25th court meeting. Any corrections or additions? I have one correction. When we voted, I seconded the motion for Charlie Edwards. And when we voted, apparently I nodded my head and I did not verbally say yes. And I want the record to reflect that I did vote yes on that issue.
And
With that correction, excuse me, you got something, Misty, I'm
do you have a
sorry.
copy of them? I just want to, I was watching the video and I noticed something that stuck out at me. Just let me check it real quick. Because you had made a motion to table appointments, but what was said was it only applied to Danny Newton.
Have some in
So I wanted to double check that.
there. Minutes there, right there.
Was it your intention, Terry, to table both? If it is,
That's-
we can adjust.
That's what I'm asking. Was it your intention to table both refuse board appointments or Danny Newton's only?
Actually, I was tabling the issue completely, is what I made the
Well,
Okay.
it says tabling the issue.
Okay, well,
But-
I didn't know what, because I was unclear on what the status
yeah,
was of
okay,
Mr. Edwards, so I just
Yeah.
thought we'd table the
Okay.
entire
I
issue
just
until
Okay.
we.
That's what the
all right,
minutes
we'll
reflect.
bring it up again,
So
okay,
that's fine.
all right. Now, Terry made a motion to approve the minutes
Yes.
with those corrections. Is there a
Yes.
second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Hospital board appointments, last week, one of the board members was not eligible for reappointment, but we have the others that are actually need to be reappointed, which, their terms will, Dr. Paul Shaper, his term will expire in 2017. Dr. Wendy Gibson, term will expire 2017. Ted Kinsey will expire 2016. And Glenn Nimmo will expire on 6/30/14. And Glenn, at that point, will have served consecutive terms and will not be eligible. You want to take these one at a time or approve all these? We'd gotten behind on, is what I'm saying. I didn't notice that. Is everybody okay with those appointments? I'd entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve all those appointments.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion?
I just have a question.
Oh.
How does somebody go about, I know people ask me this question all the time, do we keep a file up here if someone is interested in serving on a board? Can they come in and express their interest and?
Yeah,
can they
we'd
do
like
that?
them to do it by letter, and we'll just keep them on the file.
We'll just keep them on file here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Specifications for removal of mobile homes, Mr. Edwards.
Still, trying to put put that together. I'm without a knowledge of of what they are looking for, or what, I need to get some more information in regard to what, state requires, what, is necessary for those people to do that. And I'm still working on that.
All right. At our last meeting, we were asked to check on the architect's latest bill. Jeff, did you talk with them?
Yes, I
did. And I've got a-
forwarded you all the email they sent me.
Terry? Did everybody get a copy of this? So apparently, they break it down.
Those fees, what he explained to me was those fees that are charging now, part of the original contract, they were just earned as during the, and then there's a small amount at the end that would be due after everything is complete, if you're satisfied. But this,
Now,
the
in
fees for this.
February, we paid them $28,125. And now the amount due, they say, is $2,401.40.
There's an additional that we tabled that was, seems like 4,700 or something like that, last court meeting, that's due.
They're not showing that in here, they're just showing total now, amount due now is $2,401.
Bill that we received last meeting, Judge, was $40-something hundred. Is that in addition to this one?
Well, I don't know, I'm not showing that, that's what I'm saying, Terry. We paid the big one in February, and apparently this is for contract administration, Jeff, is that correct?
Yeah, that portion that's due now.
But the bill I have now that's saying now, and I guess we need to go back and see if that's in addition to that four.
Right, I didn't understand that.
I will look at our bills, while y'all go into executive session, I can look over this.
Okay.
All right, let's table that for right now, if everybody's okay with that. Okay. All right. The UK Mobile Clinic invoice, where is that? The Board of Health, at our last regular meeting, agreed to pay this to keep this program going. So we will forward this to our Director, Lucetta Whitworth, and the financial department there. I brought it to their attention. Commissioner Drew, you was there, and they graciously voted to keep, they want to keep this thing going. We think it's a great program. We just, the short of money, so it is gonna keep going, so we'll get this to our health department. We appreciate them helping us out. Any other old business? All right, let's move into new business. I have from the Department for Local Government, this is on our energy savings project. This is a memorandum of agreement on that project. The memorandum of agreement cited above by and between the Commonwealth of Kentucky Department for Local Government and the Marshall County Fiscal Court is being amended as follows. Extend the expiration date to August 31, 2012 to allow completion of the project. The agreement is further amended to add the following language which shall supersede any conflicting provisions. Access to records. The contractor, as defined in KRS 45A-030 Section 9, agrees that the contracting agency, the Finance Administration Cabinet, the Auditor of Public Accounts, and the Legislative Research Commission, or their duly authorized representatives, shall have access to any books, documents, papers, records, or other evidence which are directly pertinent to this contract for the purpose of financial audit and program review. Records and other pre-qualification information confidentially disclosed as part of the bid process shall not be deemed as directly pertinent to the contract or shall be exempt from disclosure as provided in KRS 61-878 1-C. The contractor also recognizes that any books, documents, papers, records, or other evidence received during a financial audit of the or program review shall be subject to the Open Records Act, KRS 61-870 to 61-884. All other terms and conditions of the memorandum of agreement, except as modified above, or prior amendments, if any, are hereby ratified and confirmed. This amendment shall be approved by the Secretary of Finance and the Administration Cabinet prior to taking effect. Wendy, we should be totally through with this project by the August 31st, right?
That's my understanding. I think they're nearly finished with it. Josh and Bobby have been working on that project more so than me, but
Okay.
I think that we're pretty close.
This was our energy cost-saving project that, yeah, the new lights and everything. Most of them have been installed. We're almost there, I think. But I would need a motion to approve this extension to August 31, 2012.
Make a motion, Judge.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Jeff, you need to sign this also as counsel. And then Mel can get this back, okay. South Marshall Fire Protection District Board, an election was held June 23rd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the Board of Trustees for the Hardin South Marshall Fire Protection District. Board Chairman Kenny Jones was present to count the ballots. Mike Alexander was reelected for another term to represent, I guess that's the landowners or firefighters,
I'll have to look, I'm not sure.
on the Hardin South Marshall Fire Protection District. Would need a motion.
Motion to approve that appointment.
I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Hospital Board appointments, we've taken care of. Mowing updates, Mr. Park Director.
Yes, sir. Did you need to go into executive to discuss this, or you want me to just go over my report with you here?
Well, if you would prefer, we'll talk about it because it will involve personnel.
Yes.
We'll talk about it in executive session.
Right.
Is the grass green at the park, Mr. Director?
Ball fields are. The parts we're irrigating are green.
Okay. All right. I know it's been tough. Your employees have done an exceptional job.
Yes, they have.
Before we do that, Sheriff Byers and I were talking, and our emergency management director, before the meeting. Some counties have issued a total ban on fireworks. We feel like it's just almost unenforceable. Sheriff Byers went on the radio urging people, if you're going to have personal fireworks, do it in a paved parking lot or in your driveway, because potentially, we know it's very dry, and if you cause a fire that damages somebody's property, you could be liable. The scheduled fireworks shows, we have agreed to go on with those. We have one at Calvert City. Chief Ross and his people are ready. One at Kentucky Dam, Chief Jimmy Dexter and the Gilbertsville Fire Department are alerted. I think they have one at June. They have one at Ken Lake. And Chief Searles and his people. So all of our fire departments are prepared and ready as best we can. Along with the sheriff, we just want to urge everybody to be very careful, because it's like a tinderbox out there, and I wish we could get some rain, but I don't see it in the foreseeable future. If anybody knows a rainmaker, we'll call them in, do a dance or whatever. Okay. Let's, you want to go on into executive session, get this over. If I have a motion to go into executive session. Oh, I'm sorry, yes,
Can I just say one thing, please?
yes.
As a matter of record, because I'm probably gonna have to leave while you guys are in executive session, I'm Sandra Wright. I'm a resident of Calvert City, Kentucky, and I have been for 30 years, a taxpaying citizen. So what I would like to address is the board appointments for the refuse department. And as Jeff was discussing in his email about the conflict of interest, I have a little bit of a question about a conflict of interest. I understand that the refuse board is responsible for the hiring and firing of employees, is that correct?
That is correct.
And I understand that you actually have a son, John Keith, that is working for the refuse department.
That is correct.
Okay. And so what I would like to ask you to do, sir, and this is not a point of law because I am not an attorney, but as a matter of ethics and a matter of conflict of interest or the appearance thereof, I would like to ask you to recuse yourself from any vote on that issue.
I've hired an attorney to look into that issue, and Calvert City does not pay the tax, the refuse tax, and never has. But we will certainly, I've asked an attorney to look into it, not Jeff, another attorney.
But I'm not asking as a point of law, just as an appearance of conflict of interest.
Sure. And I would appreciate you putting that in writing, so we'll have it a matter of record, and we
Do that, sir.
be more than happy to have the ethics board take a look at it.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, the issue had come up, I had, I think I intended to send you all an email in addition, that's the other one I thought was here. And as a matter of law, I didn't feel like there was a conflict because there's not, the conflict's not between the board and John Keith Miller. So I didn't, but I do, the final, what in my opinion, wouldn't bear any weight other than, but the Ethics Commission could address that specifically to determine if there's a conflict.
I guess my only concern, would be if we begin looking into what Commissioner Anderson recommended as an investigation, if there is some bearing on the scrap metal that was under the responsibility of the recycling department, is that not an issue, Jeff? That
Well, it is, but at this point, I felt like that whatever was done out there was done at the direction of the board. So
that,
there's.
well, that would be the assumption, but
Right, I mean, that may become a different issue
different
as we,
issue.
as it, later on.
I just
but-
well, you recused in the North Marshall water issue. I just didn't know if it was the same sort of a.
Well, it is similar, and I compared those two because that was my opinion.
Right.
But in that situation, at that point, the conflict was between the board and Mr. Anderson. And not, just between the fiscal court and the board. Up until that point, that hadn't, if I don't think it's necessarily an ethical conflict if there's someone that you happen to be, you all as commissioners are related to, that applies and you appoint to a board. Now, at the point where there is a conflict between that board and someone that's, I think that's where and I'm not saying a conflict may not arise, I
Sure.
can't tell you what's gonna happen tomorrow, but at this point, I don't see that as an actual conflict. And did you get this email I sent?
I got it. I was going through it in my head, and I was just trying to, I guess, because I've only been elected a short time from going back to where I was a couple of years ago, I think the public perception could be us appointing a board who then is able to set a rate of pay for a family member could draw some criticism. Because the board members, they get $500 just for serving on the board, so you're putting someone in a position who earns a pretty good rate of pay, who then sets a rate of pay for a family member, and I think there's some, you just might want to do this. That would be my personal
And
opinion.
I think that's what she was talking
That's
about.
exactly what I'm at.
I personally would
We'll
feel.
certainly let
but-
the ethics board take a
Sure,
look at it.
sure.
I have no problem with that at all. I like it in writing though, so we can,
Yes, sir. I'll be glad to do that.
all right. Do we have a motion?
Motion executive session.
All right, second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, aye? And it is the opinion of our Parks Director that our current contract is not being fulfilled. In order to rectify this, it appears to be the opinion of the members of the court that we void the contract for not complying, and as long as we stay under the bid limit, and I hope well under, because we're halfway through the season, allow our park director to negotiate with the next highest bidder to see if they would like to fulfill the contract. Did I say that right?
I think so.
Next lowest bidder?
The next, well, be the next, we took the lowest bidder, so it'll be the next highest bidder, I guess, Al. Okay, could I get a motion to that effect?
Make that motion, Judge.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any discussion?
None.
None.
Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
I
Let the
abstain.
record reflect that Bob abstains. And I vote yes. On our animal shelter personnel, we interviewed, how many people yesterday?
12.
12 people yesterday. We have narrowed that down to five, and the court members will be interviewing. We interviewed one this morning early, and the other 4 will be interviewed by the members of the court, and we'll have a decision by our next meeting of the court. I do believe that if the decision is made, and I don't know how we would do this, Mr. Edwards, you tell us to allow those people to begin, because we really need to get them on board.
Well, why don't you do it this way? I mean, the interviews will convene this morning.
I won't be
I
here.
wouldn't, right. You could, oh, that's right, you won't be here.
I mean, and Ms. Drew and I, and looking at everything, we, this is hard to believe, we'd agree on, everything like this. We had the same five that after interviewing that we agreed on. We just looked at, I mean, we were very, and let me say, we were impressed with all of them. We really were, but five kind of stood out. And that's the one we called back because we wanted Commissioner Anderson and Commissioner Gold to meet them as well. And I think Ms. Drew and I would be comfortable with any of them, to be honest with you, but we can only select two, and we understand that.
Could, I mean, this meeting could continue till you complete those interviews and then make a decision then.
Could it be a recommendation if judge isn't here based on, and a recommendation to the judge? Could we just vote on a recommendation to the judge?
And I've
after we
told the
interview?
court, I'll be comfortable with anybody they select, because those five, we
Right.
feel, Wendy and Jeff and Commissioner Drew and I, feel very comfortable with, the five that we narrowed down. So I would be comfortable with any of them. Now, I would like to ask the court to consider, and I have not talked, to Lexi, to see if Lexi, on a Saturday, would be willing for a few Saturdays, and we would pay her to come in and brief the new person on procedures and the operation of the shelter. And hopefully she would do that. I have not talked with her, but we
Okay.
will, if there's no objection from the court,
I have none.
to do that.
Jeff, what you recommended, if we continue the meeting until the end of the morning or this afternoon, can that person go ahead and begin work? That's not a problem.
Yeah, and I'm sure some of them had said, Commissioner, that they needed 2-week notice for their job, and I understand that, and we certainly would want them to have that opportunity.
Will they go ahead and
But they
know,
go
they
ahead
would
and
go ahead and know
notify.
today?
Yeah, and
They would
notify,
know today.
sure.
Right.
And give their notice, okay. All right, our animal shelter report, it's, we have 90 animals in the pen as of May 31st. 50 brought in by wardens, 107 brought in by citizens, a total of 157 animals brought in the month of May. 39 June, 39 dogs, 9 cats, 45 puppies, 64 kittens. We have adopted 152. We have 2 in foster care, 6 reclaimed, 9 euthanized. We have in the pen, as of Monday, Saturday, 83 animals. Monies brought in the month of June was $875. That is for that's your report from the animal shelter. Treasurer's report. Miss Emily.
You've all been given a copy of the treasurer's report. This is our final, this is my June 30 report for the fiscal year. The only thing special that I wanted to point out is that we will be eliminating the occupational tax fund, not the occupational tax administrator fund. So you will see that it reflects a 0 book balance, as well as the Cherokee Park Fund and the 911 wireless fund. So those all three reflect a 0 book balance. I would also, after you vote on my treasurer's report, I'd also ask for a motion for me to let the bank know that we need to close the occupational tax account and the Cherokee Park Fund account at the bank, because those will not, after following all the checks, outstanding checks clearing, there's not any for the Cherokee Fund, so we can clear it immediately. Can't close it immediately, but occupational does have a few outstanding. Then that amount is is shown on this report, that it will remain in the account for those checks to clear.
You need a motion to close those?
Yes, please.
I'd make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Chair votes aye. Treasurer's report subject to audit. Do I hear a motion? I have a motion and second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Let's move now to the quarterly report. That also should be in your packet.
Fiscal year end report, our quarterly report that we will submit to DLG. This shows you the account balances, our total receipts for the year, disbursements, cash balance, any encumbrances that we're paying this court meeting, our bank balance, and then our ending cash balance for all funds. Our total carryover for all funds will be $2,153,060.70 into the fiscal year 13.
All right, you've heard the report. What's your pleasure?
Make a motion, Judge.
We have a motion to approve the quarterly report.
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. I sign these. That's the ones you need signed.
Leave that one in the court file, because since we have to submit those electronically, I'll have another form that I'll have, bring to you and have you sign as well.
Right. All right, let's move to encumbrance report.
This is my encumbrance report for the quarter ending June 30th, 2012. These are the bills that we are paying this court meeting that are dated in June, which are gonna be the majority of them. These are reflected on this last report that we just approved. General fund is a total of $16,759.88. Road fund, $25,753.20. Jail funds, $5,667.04. 911 fund, $41.47, for a grand total of $48,221.59.
All right, you heard the encumbrance report. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion approved, Judge.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Do you need this or Melvin?
Mel. I need to sign that one, looks like.
Yes, you do. Intra-fund transfer report.
I'm gonna ask to move $700,000 from the occupational tax administrator into the general fund. That covers the bills that we're paying today. Most of those, a big part of that is our insurance is due this court meeting. And I'm also moving $31,250, which is our subsidy, to the 911 fund. I told you last court meeting that I would report the transfer amounts for June 30th that we're moving. I moved occupational tax fund to general fund, $5,379.50. Cherokee Park to general fund, I moved $3,287.74. And from the 911 wireless fund to the 911 fund, I moved $108,021.08. This is to give those funds a zero book balance.
Close out the year.
Yes.
All right. You've heard the intra-fund transfer report. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Next, appropriation condition report.
These are reports that I told you I would try to get to you each meeting. This shows you where we are in this current budget year with the bills that we are paid to date reflected in there, following your approval later on in the court meeting. So those are just for your reference.
Do you need a motion on that, or that's just for a
No, sir.
report?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Next.
The salary schedule, we usually approve this every, the beginning of each fiscal year. This does not reflect any, changes in any compensation. It shows you what this last fiscal year was and this fiscal year,
That's this one.
for the county paid employees.
Do you need a motion on that?
Yeah, that's something the auditors
Okay.
require us to.
Need a motion to approve the salaries of county employees.
Make that motion, Judge.
Have a motion by Squire Anderson, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion?
None.
Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Anything else, Emily?
I have one more report that I gave to each one of you, and this shows our year-end cash balances for the past 11 fiscal years. And the differences, our year-ending cash balance is down $299,000 from what it was last year. This just gives you some information, but I don't need a motion or anything. It's just an informational report.
All right.
Did you print it any smaller?
No, I had to get on one page.
All right, you had an opportunity to review the bills. Do I hear a motion to pay the bills?
Motion to pay the bills, Judge.
I have a motion by Squire Anderson, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Squire Gold, any discussion?
None.
We had, one Aramark bill that, is for the shelter that we're going to look at and, ask that you all not approve that bill at this time. That they're billing us for things that they are not leaving at the shelter, so we're gonna try to work that out.
With that exception. All in favor of the motion to pay the bills with that exception?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Any other business come before the court?
I've looked at the Castleberry McGregor information, Judge.
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay. It looks like, per what he is saying in this contract, that our rate is based on a bid fee, which is why when we approved that contract, there wasn't a flat rate that we could see, because we didn't know what the bid was gonna be. Based on the bid rate, we fall into the 12% category. There is a 1.25 factor for renovations. So after you compute all that out, with our bid price being $252,470, our total fee will be $37,870. There were $230.40 worth of drawings and reimbursable fees that we had to pay. To date, we have paid $30,526.40. I have two bills. The one that we tabled last court meeting for $4,754 that will be due through the construction that was due, done through June 14th. The final to finish out the construction is another $2,820 due to Castleberry McGregor.
Was there a time limit set on that too, on how quick they're supposed to get that done?
That I didn't review.
Okay. Seemed like they're taking an awful lot longer than what I thought it would to get that finished.
All right,
What was the total bill, Judge?
38.
38?
Right at 38.
Yeah, 38, total was $38,100.
So is it gonna get any worse, or is that it?
That's it. Wait a minute, Terry. Wait a minute.
Unless there's some changes or something that we
I
are
hope that's
unaware
it.
of at this
Well,
time.
Yeah.
I mean, based on that same chart, if it had been 350,000 like we first anticipated, it would have been more than that.
Yeah.
But
I
so
have,
this is
I have
cheaper.
to confess
This
to the
seems-
taxpayers, I wasn't sure, I didn't understand that.
I didn't realize it was gonna be that much either. I mean, I was going on, like I said before, the Children's Art Center. I mean, they paid 40-something for the whole building design. So I was experiencing sticker shock when I saw that bill come through. I'm not
Think
even
we
gonna
all
lie
were.
about it. Yeah, yeah.
But it's a bill wheel.
It is a bill we owe. So I guess in the future we'll bid it out and we'll
There
know
you
what
go.
we've got.
Do I hear a motion to pay that bill? Or we
Make a
did table?
motion.
Make the motion, Judge.
We have a motion to pay the bills to Castleberry McGregor. Did you second?
Second.
Misty? Mr. Second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Did we approve the rest of the bills?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Any other business come before the court?
Do we need to go back into session?
Shoot,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do y'all wanna consider moving the next meeting because that is election?
Wait a minute.
I
I
have
was gonna
to.
move it anyway because
Yeah, that's
we'd
what you
already
asked
talked
it.
about that. And we were gonna move it, Terry, to when, do you remember? The following week? Look at your calendar, cause you told me and
I don't know that we ever talked, I just told you I needed to change it.
Right,
I
right.
wasn't sure exactly. It'll need to be sometime past the 20th, if we can.
Like the 24th, that Tuesday?
24th.
24th is fine with me,
Does that
if
work?
that's, Bob, you okay on the 24th?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. If there's no objection, we will, change our next meeting date from the, 17th to the 24th of July. If any conflicts come up, let us know. What I would like to do is, instead of adjourning the meeting, we will recess the meeting so y'all can reconvene to
What time?
meet with these people. I think they're
What
gonna
time
be
did
here
you
at
say?
11 o'clock, Terry.
11:30?
11:30, okay, so I'll give you a little break. I'd entertain a motion to recess.
Make a motion, go into recess.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are in recess.